What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Grab Your Torch with Kaleb and Joel. We are here to recap Survivor 45, episode 10, where we had maybe a predictable episode and outcome, but a couple of few tidbits here that were interesting, resulting in Bruce not playing his idol and him getting voted out of the game. What were your thoughts on the episode, Joel, as a whole?
I thought it was a pretty decent episode. I think definitely we've had some high points, and this isn't a low point by any means, but it was definitely more middling. I think it was a proper way to send Bruce home. I think a lot of things added up here. And as bummed as I am to lose Bruce, I am pretty excited about this final seven. I think Bruce, everyone been like kind of talked about how like Bruce was kind of keeping things stagnant. And with him going, I think maybe we'll get like the through line of just more fluid gameplay, which I know a lot of the Survivor community has been talking about.
Absolutely. I just keep thinking about how Reba has just been dominating the game this entire time. Like they were winning a bunch of challenges, and then after the swap, they kept winning until the Brando vote. But Austin and Drew were able to keep Emily on their side, and take out Brando. And then once the mergatory happened, they knew that they weren't close with Sifu or Jay, so they got them taken care of. They got Kaleb, who's essentially a Bello, taken out, and we've had three straight Bellows since then, with Kelly, Kendra, and then now Bruce. So, do you think there's any path for Jake, Katura, or Emily to win this game? Like they're the last three non-Reba people that have a chance.
I do.
I think
Possible outcome is Emily. I do not see a way that. Sorry, what?
you cut off a little bit. Can you repeat your answer
Oh,
to the question?
my apologies. Yeah, I think the only possible outcome is Emily. Now I do think that they're showing that the jury really likes Jake, which I think maybe even plays a factor into him getting cut at the end, maybe something like that, where obviously he had a good relationship with Caleb. And I think a very underrated aspect of the entirety of Survivor is the first juror and how you make the first juror feel. That I think a good reason why Mike loses 42 is because Chanel is the first juror and he made Chanel very mad, and that already gave a negative outlook. And plus his bad final tribal, I think that is a majority of why he lost. And Marianne kind of played amazing, but
Kind of dominated at
of
the end, yeah.
course. But I think with Jake, it is a thing where I don't think people want to talk about it, but like he gets voted at the end. I think he's almost a lock Caleb vote. Shoot, is it cutting in?
Yeah, it keeps going in and out a little
Did I
bit.
cut out?
Just a
Okay.
second, yeah. But I
Yeah,
think
that
we got
better?
I think we got the most of what you're trying to say there. So I totally agree with you. I think Emily really is the only one that has a real chance. I do think that Jake could steal a couple of votes here and there, just from people because he's a super likable guy. I know he's not really making friends with the Drew right now, which we can talk about the whole mobster scene, which was just great. Like finally some like even though it was pretty mild, we had a little bit of conflict here and there. Just having both him and Drew kind of banter back and forth a little bit. And I thought it was highly entertaining. I think essentially that Jake was right. Is like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I don't have any control in the game at all. Like, why am I the mobster? you know? Um, but I don't know. I thought it was a great scene.
No, yeah, there's a lot of good scenes. I thought this was like probably the funniest episode to me personally. Seeing the juxtaposition of like Emily winning reward, taking all the women, then just the juxtaposition of them being strategic, being emotional, and then to the guys having just broing out. That was hilarious because it showed like they did say it that like flat out like a woman's gonna win, which I don't think is like the death note like it's going to happen, but I do think it is like more than likely a woman is winning,
Yeah, that
which
makes
is
me
cool
have
with
a
me.
little, well,
Yeah,
a
it
little head
happens a
turn.
lot.
Yeah,
And I think if I had to guess who, it was either going to be like Dee or Emily because first off, I like Couture as a character, but her storyline kind of ended here. And more importantly, I think she played kind of poorly this round because Emily was planning to take out Ari before, which is the final ace, the perfect time to do it. She had an idol. She had Bruce convinced to do the move, but Katura blew up Bruce's position with the lie, which poor move by Bruce. But it did work. Like we saw Jake tell Drew and it worked. Like
Right.
it was gonna go through and Katura ruined that.
She did. Yeah.
And it might have ruined her game.
It was honestly the whole that's actually a really good point. I just feel like that's probably just the culmination of like this whole season of her storyline. Is her trying to get out Bruce, trying to get out Bruce. She gets out Bruce, she gets her way this episode, but at what cost? I think it's costing
Exactly.
her the entire game. Just because her inability like to see Bruce as like even an ounce like of an ally. Like even like maybe this one vote we can all work together. Because Bruce like from what we've seen, he seemed to have trusted her in that moment. Like, hey, like that's why I'm telling you this. Katura's like just has the Bruce blinders on. And it's kind of like a satisfying conclusion to this story when it's a little bit subverting the expectations. Like we would have thought, like with all this buildup, that whoever had the better of the other would have used that as like their big resume piece. But I think this is
Mhm.
ultimately Katura's downfall, which is a little sad to see.
It is. And I think just moving towards like the move itself, a 4-3-1 vote. First off, incredibly impressive move in general by Emily. Emily is given full credit for the move. But a lot of people like kind of blame her for not taking a shot at Mama J. And I from her point of view, I agree with the move solely because like oh no, solely because Mama J, she didn't know Mama J had the idol, which is a big thing. I think if she knew Mama J had the idol, she takes the shot. But more importantly, she was concerned with Bruce having the idol, which she got rid of. Like her plan was to get rid of Bruce without using the idol, which she did.
Mhm.
Now, unfortunately, she's put the majority group 4-3 with two idols. Like the odds are against her. And I think probably the only way she gets the end is if she gets Austin and Drew to like essentially ruin their game by taking her.
I totally agree. Um, I I do think there is a path for Emily. Like if somehow the Rebas just like implode, which it's just really hard to see happening. But I do think it will just be completely scattered as soon as one of them is gone. Like that will like let's say Julie gets taken out next week, Austin and Drew are like, I guess we can take out D, or like or Drew will be more inclined to take out D at that point. Austin maybe not so much from what we've seen about him Austin and D's relationship, like a little bit, and even a little bit of hints of like showman stuff, which is probably not real, but it's all for the show. But we know that they're close, and so someone like Julie going to this last episode could have really caused a big like chain of events, which is a little disappointing that that wasn't the outcome. I'm still not really sure what to think. Like, was that a good move or not for Emily? I do think it's a resume thing. Like everyone was trying to take out Bruce like for a long time at that point. And
Oh
so
yeah.
she can say she was the one that did that. But ultimately, was Bruce gonna win? I don't think so. Like Bruce, he's at that point he was kind of like a dead horse walking, dead man walking. Um, I don't know. I didn't see a path for him. Um, I think Julie was the bigger threat and could have caused a lot more chaos. And um, but at the other side, Emily might just be biding her time. And I think this next week, like we've been saying the last couple, but I think this will be the actual like stuff's gonna go down this week. If it's not
Mhm.
if it's not this week, it's not gonna happen at all. There's just gonna take like Jake to the end. So it's either I see it as Katura's going home this week or the Reba's collapse. I mean, I don't think Emily or Jake's going. That's kind of where I'm at right now with that.
No, I agree. I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of like the Reba 4, where you finally just got the numbers. I don't know why you would like break because you've been trying to get to this moment specifically, like where you get a 4-3 advantage with two idols. which it does show that Julie's like in possession of the idol. And like it shows Julie with the possession of the idol, and Austin only has one, which is like kind of an awkward like, hey, can I have that back and guarantee myself final four? But I don't get what's up with like New Era and everyone just giving away their idols. Like I get knowledge is power, but like Austin, you have two idols. Like you can risk that. But either way, Austin is in a great spot. Drew's in a great spot. D, all of them. And I think if I were them, if I was Drew and Austin, I would take Emily to 5 and vet out Couture and Jake, where you're almost guaranteed to have Emily on your side in that 3 and take out D or Mama J. Well, if I was like, honestly, if I was D and Julie, I'd also take Emily. I'd feel like they were close, where Emily's in a good position to make it.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's like this weird thing where I think Emily's weirdly like the best positioned person on this in this game, but also like not taking out the threats on the way there.
yeah, for sure. I
So
I
I don't know.
do think the only thing, like, yeah, since Emily did take both D and Julie on her reward with her, I think that gives, Emily some bonus points with them. Um, and then at the same time, I think at that point the Reba Four's been together so long they'll be collaborating to get one another out instead of looking at Emily as a threat.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, like they were like, we just want to stay together. We had that moment with the Drew and Julie at the beginning of the episode where they're just like crying and saying like we're not going to vote each other out. Like it's not going to happen. We're staying together. It's going to be okay. I just feel like there's little hints and buildups, to where they are going to collapse and it's not going to work. Um, we haven't seen like a domineering alliance take it all the way to the end in a long time. And so I'd be an interesting season in the new era if somehow they pull that off. But I don't know. Something I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Emily's just such a great position. Like they have to take her out if they want a chance. I think she has the best chance to win right now. Going on record and saying that. I'm kind of pulling for her right now. Um, but because D's such a threat. And then the other three, I think Emily could beat them. Honestly, I don't. That's just where my 2 cents are right now.
Mhm.
And then as far as Austin goes, if he does get back that idol from Julie, whatever, if we see that happen, if he makes it past this week or wins one more immunity or whatever, he's got a guaranteed ticket to the final four. And so Austin's set up to go far if he plays his cards right, and doesn't, if he does want to use his idols on his allies, I'm sure that would be a great move. But if solely for immunity's sake, like he's got a path, um, which is why I feel like we're getting set up for like an Austin like fire making loser this season for some reason.
Yeah.
Like I don't really see him making it to the end. Like maybe in the finale people will be rooting for him a bunch, but he will like be one of that spot that loses in fire, just from his storyline and everything. I just think we'll have a woman win this season. And then I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right now. That's a lot of my thoughts there.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I've been saying this. I truly think Austin will be the fallen angel. I think he was referred to the angel, which Survivor knows that like the last vote before you make finale is the fallen angel, and he's referred to it. He's in a position where he's almost guaranteed to get there. He's already won immunity. He would be the biggest threat in the end game. And I think if you're Emily and you're in with Austin, you have to take out Austin before Emily, at least to the players' minds. So it's like Emily's going to be brought in. Austin probably might even take her, which I think is a possibility as well. It's been set up that those two are pretty close. And I think towards the end of it, they'll get rid of D, they'll get rid of Drew, and probably Katura. And I see a world where the final four is just Jake, Mama J, Austin, and Emily, and everyone's just trying to get Austin out.
Yeah, I could see that world as well. I was thinking for today, since we have our final seven, we can do a little quick like power rankings, like people's positions of like ranking all the seven players. Um, and we've already mentioned like people's position and stuff right now. But I already wrote out mine, so I can start while you kind of think through yours.
Yeah,
But this is not like chances of winning. This is like position right now, final seven.
Mhm.
So 7, Jake, easy. He's the bottom. He hasn't been able to do anything. He should have gone home, honestly. If Bruce played his idol, like Jake would be a goner, and we wouldn't have thought twice about it. And it would have been just another sad like Jake boot. I think it would have been a more interesting final seven if Bruce did stick around. But I do
Yeah.
really like Jake a lot. I like having him on my screen, so I'm enjoying that time from his confessionals. He's just kind of in that Owen Knight position from 43, where he just like no matter what he does, he can't do anything, and that's not his fault. Like he made one poor decision, um, trying to save Kaleb, which was you know ballsy, and I credit him for that, but it didn't pay off, and so because of that, that kind of just let him straight at the bottom. And since this game isn't very fluid, as we've seen with the Reba just taking over, like he just doesn't really have a chance to get back up. And then 6, I have Katura. I just she's not in a great position. I honestly, she's my prediction for going home this week, solely because she's the only one like Jake's not seen as a threat anymore at all. Like Bello would be like Couture's the only like Bello that's like a threat. So if we do have that scenario where the Rebas just play it safe and stick together, like Couture's probably going to go home in that instance. Only because if an idol comes out, Austin plays an idol. I'm sure he will not want to go for one of his other Rebas. You know, like I don't know how that would work. It would probably be a blindside, whatever. Couture would get the backlash of that, is my opinion. 5, I have Julie. I don't really see a path for her. I think she can get to the end. I don't think she can convince people that she deserves $1 million at this point in the game, just because she's just kind of been kept it safe and stuck with her alliance. And any move that she's trying to get, D's done hers instead. And so Julie hasn't really gotten a lot of credit for different moves, and so I don't really see her winning. Um, I just position wise, like I don't think it's great. And then 4, I have Austin. I think I think he's in a good position, honestly, but I think he's just such a big physical threat that people are starting to realize that, and they know that he has 2 idols. So I feel like they could pull off a blindside in his direction, because they can easily just pull the wool over his eyes. Like he is obsessed with D. He's obsessed with his alliance. He wants to stick with them. And so if they're like, dang, like this is tough. We just gotta like blindside Austin. He'll never see it coming. We got to get rid of these idols. He's gone. And then like I said, if he is smart and he does make it to Final Four, I just feel like he's really been set up for that Final Four loss. And then number 3, I have Drew. I think Drew is doing well. He has one really good move to his name. I don't really know about jury management. I think he's upset a lot of people. So I feel like that might rub some people the wrong way, and that wouldn't really gain him very much favor. Um, but I do see him getting to the end. I see that as a big possibility. And he's done well enough and distinguished himself well enough, I think, to get some votes. And then 2, I have Emily. We've already kind of discussed her position. Like she could go with either the two Reba women or the 2 Reba men at the final 5. She could band together with Jake and Katura, do something. Like she's just right in the middle, and people still don't realize that just because of her sticking with Reba this entire time and voting in the majority and voting correctly this entire time. And so people are not like thinking that Emily's going out getting out to get them right now. And then 1 is D. She like if she gets to the win in any capacity, any combo of people, she's gonna win the game just because of her resume, her control of her alliance. People recognize that. People have been saying her name for weeks now. I think that she's in the majority alliance. She has great connections. If she makes it to the end, she's gonna win. Period. That's my 7.
All right, that's pretty good. I'm looking at this as more like positioning to get to the end. Positioning to get to the end and win, I'm factoring as well, but not as much as just like where they are right now and if they're gonna make it. But I agree with a lot of it, like 7 Jake. Jake it's so weird he's getting targeted to me. He is a goat. Like, I get people like him. I get that he's going to get jury votes. But if you're in the game and you are seeing someone like Jake, he's such an easy win against that you can point out multiple times he played incorrectly. And he would probably admit to that. He's the 0-9, where Cassidy found out that, like, juries nowadays don't respect that. They don't respect the underdog. They respect good gameplay. They respect good moves, being consistent with your gameplay more so than flashes here and there being likable. And I think he's just, the fact he's getting targeted is crazy to me. I think there's a shot he gets there. I think by the edit he does, but just judging right now, I don't think he can. And then it's Katura. Katura, I think, is more looked at as a threat than Emily, which is like a good shield for her. I think it'd be kind of like, I don't know, poetic that the second Bruce goes, she goes. And the reason she was just like, Bruce was just shield and then she goes. It just makes a lot of sense to me that they would take her out before Jake. Like, someone's just gonna be like, hey, why are we taking out Jake? Like, that doesn't make sense. And that'll happen. I think if, like, once she gone, that boons Emily. And if Jake goes, she's gonna be taken before Emily. So that's my thought. The number 5 have D, in fact, because big change, and I have reasoning for this, is the fact that she is like the Jesse, she's the Homer, she is the Sham. And this new era of Survivor is not built for those people to win. We saw it with Carson. Carson basically played like about like if bet not as good. I would say he's played as good, if not better, than D. And he still lost at the end. Even with Jam Jam, someone who's amazing at fire making, actively helping him. And like D is just not going to make it with everyone telling like everyone to get her out. Where I don't think Drew's going to let her get to the end. Like, I think Drew can convince Austin to do it. Julie is already like, hey, why isn't she listening to me? Emily recognizes it, and I just don't know how she does it. Like, she would have to win immunity. She would have to pull something off because she has this alliance around her, which is the alliance of the season, but she doesn't have like power besides the idols, which aren't even hers. So she's just like sitting there waiting to be taken out, in my opinion. Then I got Austin, and Austin is very awkward to me because like technically he's like guaranteed final 5. But just the way he's playing, like he feels like more like around the group than he is like for himself. I think next week he is really going to decide if he idols or not for someone else, which I think is a possibility that he idols and then Katura goes. But more importantly, he will be that guy that once D's gone, he's the threat. And there's a chance he recognizes that and why he wants to keep her around. But I think Drew also recognizes that. And I think Emily recognizes that. And I think Emily can beat them all at the end, but I do not think that Drew can get or Austin can get there. Especially with like he's not like he's good at challenges, yeah. Especially with Bruce being gone. But he's not like insanely good at challenges. Like he's no Aussie. He's not going to immunity his way out. No one in this era has really been able to just immunity their way to the end, other than Jonathan. But I mean, Cassidy and him has the same amount of immunity, so it's like, you know, I do that. Jonathan in the pre-merge was crazy though. Then we got Drew at 3. Drew, I think, is just like probably like really well positioned in the fact that he has D and Austin ahead of him. Like just naturally, I feel like that is in a way 2 idols, such good shields. And I think he's just such a non like immediate threat, if that makes sense. That like you see him and you're like, oh gosh, he was like he made all these moves and all this stuff, but he's rubbed people the wrong way, especially with like Jake. And his ego gets the best of him. I think his ego has been talked about a lot. And I think there's a good chance he makes the final 3. I think there's a shot that him and Austin make final 4 and they have to go against each other in fire making. But then we got number 2, we got Julie. I mean, she has an idol. Other than Katura straight up like wanting her out for reasons that I do not agree with the fact that she's trying to take her out because she's like this mother-like figure is so absurd to me. Because never in the history of Survivor, other than like Tina Wesson, has like the mother outright won. Well, like Tina won because she's strategic. No one's won because like they're the mother. And I think that's like a silly thing to think about because like Julie's playing an all right game, if not a great, like a pretty good game. Like she got someone to give her an idol. I give her a lot of credit for that. But it was also a bit situational. But with that idol, I think she's almost guaranteed to make the final three. I think it's going to happen. I think she will take the shot at D. And I think that everyone wants to take her to the end because I don't think none of them have the heart to take her out. But then, like we said, number one, I have Emily. I mean, look, last week you can debate the move, but with like all the information she had and how everyone was playing, I think she made the correct move. And um I think that like just she's so well positioned to make it to the end that I do not think that the Reba foresee her as a threat. And
Absolutely
like I
not.
said before, I Kaleb is the first juror. And it was shown that Kaleb basically made her the good social player she is. And we have seen how like for like charismatic Kaleb is. Imagine how charismatic he is in the jury with people that have all their guards down. Like he's probably going crazy for Emily. Her story would be insane to watch. And I think that they are just straight up overlooking it because no one's even targeting her. Because she's in this weirdly great position where Couture and Jake are just go before her. And even if they do decide, the Reba Four do decide to go after each other and take someone out at Final Seven, then she'll have the numbers at 6. Like mathematically speaking, she's in such a good position to make it to the end. And I mean, it's probably the best positioning I've seen it in a player in such a long time. Like, this is like a level of like threat management of stuff out of like Jam Jam. Like,
Absolutely.
I think Jam is probably the best like threat management I've ever seen because that guy probably like nearly beats Carson, if not beats him. And Carson's played one of the best games I've seen. But like Emily is just sliding through these people where her journey from being like unable to socialize to being one of the best social players and while obviously still having this strategic mind is crazy. And she's
Oh, missed that last thought there. Yeah, just briefly.
oh my bad. I just think that she's such a good strategic player added on to the social that I think it has shown that she has a relationship with everyone at this
Yeah.
point. And plus, with the foreshadowing that a woman's going to win with her story,
And the
editing
Matt
wise, I think
chat.
she's good. And the match hat, I mean, they need to change that. She's going to win.
I know
Like,
they do need to change that.
it's
But yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, if she
But
wins, everyone's mind's just gonna be blown in so many ways. I don't know. I totally agree with all your points pretty much. I could go either way with D. Like I think if she makes it to the end, she wins. But at the same time, I think her path to get there is very hard. So I agree with you there. And I do
oh,
think
yeah.
Julie can slip by as well. I just don't know if she has as big a chance of winning the game. Um, against if Julie made it to the end somehow with like Jake and Katura, Julie would
I think
win. That'd be great. I mean, that would be hard to get there. Um,
I think she would have a chance against Drew,
yeah, I think she would have a chance to get Drew. Yeah, that's true. And
but
I'm
everyone else knows.
from her confessionals, like she's been able to explain her position very well, and I think she could be able to convince some people to give her their vote just because of how she communicates.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, I'm struggling to think of anything else to mention. Like what we talked about a little bit earlier, the boys' night scene was just incredible. Just
Love
having
it.
the montage of them going around doing broing out, doing guy things. Like that was probably one of the most memorable moments of the new era. Like thinking back, like 45 is gonna be the boys' night season, um because we have so little to distinguish between them these days. But I do I'm really enjoying the season. Like we've come out of the hole with some crazy pre-merge votes. We had two quits. We had a successful shot in the dark play. We had one of the biggest, if not the biggest, blindside of the new era. And then we've had a Pagani the last couple of weeks. And so we've kind of just had it all in one box in 45. So I think
Mhm.
the in game is shaping up to be something great. I think it's still easily the best season of the new era. And I give a lot of points because of 90-minute episodes, but we've had time to develop the characters, and that's what makes Survivor happen. It's the characters, it's the people, it's the casting. Like that's what makes Survivor great. Um, if we get a Reba steamroll, I don't know if it'll be interesting TV to watch, but dang, it would be great to watch as like just as such as purely from a strategical standpoint. Because like
Yeah,
in the new era, the fact that they can pull that off, like that is would be wild to me. If they're the final four,
it would
I don't
be.
know. I don't know what I'd do.
It'd be the like almost the perfected. Whoever wins out of that is like to me like the most perfected like way of winning a new era season. Where the Tika three almost did it. Though I mean they're right there. And I think getting four people to do that is, to me, even more impressive because I think three is almost a perfect amount for an alliance. And having an alliance of four that initially didn't trust each other come together and do that is just crazy to me. And I hope it happens personally, but I don't think Emily's going to allow it.
Yeah, I know. I don't either. And I think the only reason it works as a four is that it's two pairs of two, and so they can just work together as pairs rather than like all four individuals. And I feel like if
Mhm.
they all came together as individuals, they would be more of a have more incentive to like kind of be more fluid and vote people out from their alliance. But since they're pairs, they're like, oh, I don't want to take out Drew if I'm Austin, or like I don't want to
Mhm.
take out Mama J if I'm D. But like like Julie said that in the episode, she was like, "Yeah, there's no way I'm taking out D," which is
Yeah,
crazy that she said that. Um, but they can gun for each other as pairs, and so that's probably what we'll see. Who
probably.
knows? I'm excited to continue to watch the last three episodes of the season, which is kind of crazy. Um,
Yeah.
Me and Joel will be back here the next 3 weeks. And we are, I guess that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's good.
All right. If y'all are on YouTube, please like and subscribe and comment on the video, any improvements, anything like that, please. It helps other people to see our channel. And then if you're listening in podcast form or if you're watching on YouTube, you can listen to us in podcast form, wherever you listen to podcasts, except for Google. And then please like rate and review and do all the same things there because it accomplishes the same goal for us. So with all that being said, thank you all guys for watching. We'll be back on maybe hopefully Thursday, depending on how our schedules are with finals. Um, but if not, we'll get to you before the episode afterwards, and
Yeah.
hopefully y'all are enjoying this season as much as we are. So we'll talk to you later.
See you.